Time to talk about this Thunderbird Serpent thing that is the Coatl. A very interesting unit and a sort of a unique one in that it gives everything underneath its stock in a big 40-meter AoE. Myself against Samurai Warrior, I had thought Sword Spears very good against Beastmen, but they're somewhat vulnerable to a Cygor, so just in case he brought them, I've got a Coatl here also to hide my Skink Oracle Source Scarvet, just to kind of hide your intentions. Although it should be said, it does take a couple of seconds for this ability to activate, so your opponent can spot you right at the beginning of the battle and see what you have. So if you're like hidden behind a woods or inside a woods or something, to reveal that, to protect from that initial reveal, that certainly is good. But also, what else does the Coatl come with? Magic damage, not the most weapon strength in the world. Less than 400 is not great, but lesser Chain Lightning and Uranus Thunderbolt, so a little bit of bound spell action. Yeah, magic attack. A decent melee defense, similar stat profile, honestly, to something like a Frostark Phoenix, but with much better attack. And 70 armor is pretty decent as well. Not the most HP in the world, but obviously it is flying, and it has magic resistance of 15%, on top of 25% missile resistance, so sort of a specialist kind of monster, not your typical like combat-oriented, but with some weird support abilities. Also does give you a flying monster option as the Lizardmen, sort of rounding out their best-in-class monster roster, obviously with the Skink Oracle now providing an even better missile monster than the, I forget what it's called, Salamander, that's right, Ancient Salamander. Anyway, got Coatl leading the way along with the Spears, Skink Skirmishers, a couple of Chameleon Stalkers out on the flanks, some Skink Jabs, Samurai Warrior coming in with a Bray Shaman, Lore of Death, great Bray Shaman even, on the Chariot leading the way, Gorgon, some Chaos Spawn, Jabber Scythe, we got Ungor Spearman Herd up front, some Spawns, Chaos Warhounds, and Harpies up in the air. So not really too worried about the Harpies, I think the Coatl can take them no problem, but here, since there's no Cygor, basically the Coatl's just going to kind of act as an extra support single entity, basically, for fighting the Gorgon. Like, you can see the Gorgon just charging straight up the pipe here, right into my high-value single entities, maybe. He's going to consider his life decisions for a moment as he fights this Skink. Takes a couple of shots from the Skink Oracle. I'm going to get in there with Source Scar Veteran. And right now, the Coatl, you do have to be kind of careful about how you engage it, because it's slightly squishy. You do want to be kind of, especially against like this type of Beastman army where he's got a lot of single entity stopping power in that Gorgon, and you know, the Spawn also can kind of mass block and pin the Coatl in, also while dealing pretty good damage to it, right? So you got to be careful of all those things and sort of use it as a tactical weapon. But here you can see I'm just kind of deciding where to engage, and eventually this breakthrough of the Jabber Scythe is going to warrant me coming to the ground here. And also, I'm going to move in with the Skink Oracle. Unfortunately, it's Jabber Scythe's animations just allow it to directly escape there, which is not ideal. But the Coatl can kind of glide over. We do hit it with the Harmonic Convergence. 64 attack, 72 defense from the Skink Oracle can help fight the Jabber Scythe a little bit more effectively. We'll watch as these two flapping monsters fight each other. One of them bound to the ground. The other one, while it's technically on the ground, is still in the air. Very cool attack animations. The Harpies are going to swoop down onto it, but Harpies are not immune to psychology, probably very quickly to get terrified. Unfortunately, it is mostly over there on its own without any support. That being said, Coatl coming in here. The Gorgon also going to fight against the Skink Oracle. We've got the Jabber Scythe. Things are not going great for the Oracle, honestly. He is losing pretty badly here. Javelins are firing, but then here comes the Great Bray Shaman. Looks like he is on the full-on Razorgore Chariot. And yeah, there goes the Oracle, which is not great for me, but Coatl will continue to fight. And there is the lesser Chain Lightning from the Coatl, helping kind of bail itself out. Does do a little bit of damage to the Saurus Spears as well, but I believe it's just a shorter duration Chain Lightning. We have a look here. 11 seconds, yeah, so it's basically still the same damage probably as Chain Lightning, which is actually very good, but just only lasts 11 seconds, which is fine. Skink Oracle is kind of stuck up in here, which is not ideal, but he is eventually going to be able to escape and possibly recover. We've got all these Skinks coming in for a screen here, and the Chameleon Stalkers actually are decent for kind of fending off Hounds. Although they can't catch up to them, they can sort of be mobile enough to get to the right position, and you can see the Hounds slip up their micro just for a minute. These Chameleon Stalkers are able to catch them and do some pretty good damage to them. They don't have any more precursor weapons, but still. Coatl was able to get out of that engagement, pop back up into the air, and we did manage to finish the Javelin Scythe there with the Scarvet and the Saurus Spears, honestly, being super important here. Like I said at the beginning, original intention with the Coatl was protect the Spears from potential Cygor, and that didn't need to happen, so the Coatl's just been fighting here, and it's done some okay damage so far. I do have both the Uranid's Thunderbolts left, I believe, but we were able to get the Skink Oracle away, Harmonic Convergence just to give him the melee defense, a little bit of Earthbloods as well. Try and protect him from the Gorgon if I can. Looks like the Harpies are trying to chase, but again, the sheer terror presence of the Coatl, yep, will likely just terrify them as they kind of take some shots from the Skink Skirmishers down below. Oh yeah, Coatl gonna come down for a pitched engagement against the Gorgon, a little bit dangerous. But we've got the Scarvet incoming, we've got the Skink Oracle also incoming, so not too worried about this. Coatl will take some damage, but it's all good. We managed to rout the Gorgon there, despite the aspect of Dread Knight. Giving him magical damage, interesting. Oh, they actually buffed aspect of Dread Knight slightly to give magical damage now too, that's interesting. Not realize that. A little bit of a minor balance change, but at this point, the Great Bray Shaman, it's just a matter of trying to finish him off. Coatl as a mobile flying monster, I mean, pretty mobile. Let's see, let's take a look at the speed if you would hold still for a minute. Yeah, 80 speed's pretty good. It's not the fastest flying monster in the world. Actually, a lot of flying monsters are in the 90 speed range, but I think, like, Manspore might be in the 80 speed range. I have to look. Maybe 85. Oh, look at that. Is he, like, doing a little spitting attack there? A little lightning spit? That's cool. Oh, wow. Look at that attack animation. The lightning beam. The Thunderbird. I love it. The Thunderbird is here. Oh, yeah. Literally Thunderbolt from the sky. Gonna miss, but that's okay. And this will take some time, but we can just enjoy the animations for now. It is a very interesting looking creature. I love that one in particular. The lightning breath attack. It's super cool. Super, super cool. Very glad to see this guy implemented into the game. A little bit of an Earthblood to keep him going, a little bit of Harmonic Convergence. Harmonic Convergence is just such a nice spell to have on the Skink Oracle. Helps many more monsters hit above their weight class, which for its price is actually surprisingly high. Again, the Coatl, I mean, I could broadly compare it to a Phoenix in certain aspects, but we'll do that in just a moment. Well played to Samurai Warrior there. I've also got one more Coatl replay to show you, actually, before we get to that, so we'll show that in just a minute here. But we've got plenty of value on the Javelins. Skink Skirmishers honestly help carry in the late game a little bit as well. Saurus Spears, though, so good in this matchup. Interestingly enough, the Unshielded one actually got more value. Just kind of the way things happen sometimes. Chameleon Stalkers get okay value. They're not the best unit, but Oracle is very key, obviously, as well. Oxyal doesn't really do too much. Scarvet didn't technically get a lot of value himself, but again, he's kind of just an extra single-entity Saurus Spear, if you will. Samurai Warriors build here, I mean, the monster is pretty strong play against Lizardmen, it would seem, but I do think Saurus Spears are still going to be very strong in this matchup. You might want to take a couple Bestigor, deal with them, honestly. But anyway, let's go ahead and talk about the Coatl in a little bit more detail. There is a Regiment of Renown, of course, as well, that just has slightly different abilities. Comes with, I believe, Shield of Thorns and a Lesser Banishment. So, yes, we can take a look here. Where is that? Monsters and Beasts. So, relatively expensive, $18.50 to pay, which is quite a bit. I mean, that's on par with most expensive Phoenix, right? I believe Arcane Phoenix is also $18.50. So, yeah, if we kind of compare here, the Arcane Phoenix to the Coatl, similar health profile. Coatl actually a little bit better, but obviously does not have the rebirths. A little bit better melee defense than the Arcane Phoenix. Less attack, significantly less weapon strength, which I definitely think that is the Coatl's weakest point, is its low weapon strength. Yeah, the stock, of course, is a really nice kind of specialist thing. You would expect with those kind of specialist traits to have lower stats overall, and it does. Slower, a little bit more armor and melee defense and health, but everything else pretty much lower, right? And no fire damage. So in that way, it's a little bit more comparable to the Frostheart with its kind of defensively focused stat line, and these two are slightly more comparable, it would seem. Still, 700 HP difference is pretty significant, and of course Frostheart does not have the rebirth mechanic. 5 extra weapon strength for the Frostheart, which is not a lot, but similar attack and defense profile, although again the Coatl is better. I mean, you would expect it to be a little bit more, yeah, a little bit more killy because of its extra price. Magic resistance and missile resistance is also certainly something. The kind of useless frost effects. I'm saying useless. Minus 10 melee attack is actually pretty good. The AoE stock of the Coatl does give it some really nice kind of support potential. Relatively expensive, specialist monster. I need to play around with it some more to fully get a feel for it, but the Vampire Coast replay actually decided will be on another day. You will see it up against the Vampire Coast, so be sure to subscribe. Click that bell notification so you won't miss it when it happens. Thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to like, share it with a friend also if you found it useful. Yeah, thanks again. See you next time.